All right, family. So I'm here to give my 2 cents on this Dr. Umar Johnson situation. And this here hits home for me for a couple of ways. First and foremost, this individual disgusts me. Okay. Number two, I used to be a supporter of Dr. Umar Johnson or Umar Johnson. I don't even feel comfortable calling him a doctor. Umar Johnson. 10 to 12 years ago, you couldn't tell me nothing about this man and his vision for black boys. Such a disappointment. This man is a narcissistic warlock. And hear my point of view as a spiritualist and a survivor of narcissistic abuse. I'm going to get into it. First and foremost, let's break a few things down. Umar Johnson is a Leo, okay? He was born August 24th, 1974. He's a third deacon Leo, which means he is very ambitious. If he is imbalanced, he is prone to being very competitive and would do anything to accomplish his goals. Now, if you take his birthday, 8/21/1974, you get 50. Mighty odd that at this new stage, at this new cycle for his life, this is the karma that he's reaped for himself at a very pinnacle age in his life, where he could have been settled, where he could have had money in his pocket, where he really could have been helping young black boys instead of crushing their dreams, re-traumatizing the black community, and trying to sleep with their mamas. And you know what? I thank God that he didn't get a hold of our black boys, because ain't no telling what he would have done, because this man has absolutely no sexual control. And I'm not here to show you all the evidence or break down everything about Dr. Umar Johnson, but I will tell you, if you've done the research, he has been out here stealing money for years and getting away with it. Spiritually, I feel like this man will either be in a different country or within 3 years in prison. The Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. It's nothing more than a bando. It's nothing more than a way for him to sell his dope dreams to his population and steal and launder money. It is my belief that this man never planned to open this school. He has made minimal effort in paying and tying up his ends as far as business is concerned. He's not crossing his T's, dotting his I's, but all you do is see him on live, begging. Now, I'm going to tell you, about 10 years ago, when you couldn't tell me about this Umar Johnson, I was deep into a relationship with a narcissist. And at this time, I started to compare both of their behaviors and saw how they were shady and how they acted alike. Because sometimes when you're close to a person and you're suspicious of their behavior, you can't see from your toxic love. You can't see from that veil, that covering that's over your eyes. But when you can see someone's behaviors from someone that you're not as emotionally tied to, or someone you began to study. I began to study Umar Johnson. I studied his words. I studied what he was saying. I heard many of his lectures. I wanted to see his dream actualize. But as time went on, I started to see he was nothing more than a narcissistic warlock. Let's get into it again. Let's talk about some more. First of all, let's talk about and I don't want to call it witchcraft to give it a bad name, because some people will technically call me a witch. Everything that I'm about to expose through numerology, through teachings that I use myself, okay, it's basic knowledge in the spiritual community. It is the intent and the way you go about manifesting that intention that is going to determine your harvest. That is going to determine the karma that you bring for yourself. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the name that he chose, okay? Now, As a narcissist, as someone who has a grandiose personality, he is always trying to link himself to big names, to people who are important, which a lot of it has proven to be lies. He said that he was a descendant of Frederick Douglass, who was an Aquarius. Remember that. One of his inspirations, Marcus Garvey, is also a fellow Leo. These signs are two polar opposites, which is the magic that he's calling for, the duality and the power that he's raising in this ancestral connection that he's making and the claims that he's made to this bloodline. He's a full-on warlock. He knows what he's doing, y'all. If you know anything about him, if you follow him, if you've ever seen his lives, as he's out here begging, a lot of times he is casting these mental spells in y'all's brain under a full moon, calling on these deities, smoking tobacco and drinking alcohol, giving them libation. You ever think about why he repeats things 3 times? Do you know what that is? This is a psychological trick. Spiritual information that is known that the more you repeat information, especially if you repeat it at least 3 times, it seeps into the psyche and the subconscious of the individual that you wanted to hear, whether they are aware of it or not. He is casting these spells, repeating things 3 times. Donations, donations, donations. As he's casting these spells on you. Need a little bit more information? Now, if you take the day that he was born, the 21st, 2 + 1 = 3, plus the year that he was born, he also might be working with the number 3. The 3s that resonate within his birthday could be powerful. When you are a spiritualist, you work with numbers. You vibrate with the numbers. If numbers vibrate in your name, in your birth date, anywhere in your chart, okay, you might do rituals in 2s or 3s or whatever number resonates with you. You might pray that number, that specific amount of times a day. Just something else. Okay, I've studied this man for a while, y'all. I am a self-proclaimed nerd. And I am a supporter of anyone who wants to do something that's good for the community. But this man bears no fruit. Where's the fruit? You have called other activists out here who are producing. Where is his fruit? The bando with the doors and putting in lights and minimal stuff. You're not taking care of your paperwork, your tax work, your documentation. You're not taking care of all that. He never had a plan, y'all. Let's get into some more of these signs that he is a narcissist. Anytime you question him in the school, the progress of the school, he becomes angry fairly quickly. He tries to be calm at first, but the more pressure that's applied, he gets angry. This is what a narcissist does. It makes them feel attacked. It's a lack of control. They have to spin the narrative and make themselves the victim. Anytime Dr. Umar Johnson is about to be on some BS, notice how he foreshadows and gaslights. He sets the scene for what's going on. Like when his accounts were frozen. And when he found out that he was losing FDMG, what types of things was he saying on live prior, setting the story for those who are still caught in his web of lies, because he still has supporters. He still have people who have been traumatized that he is taking advantage of, who do not recognize and understand the signs of abuse. This is how he's able to continue to do this for so long, along with other people being content. It's amazing the amount of misogynists and abusers and manipulators who stand by his side, knowing that he's doing wrong. Even now, knowing that he's lost the school, he is still gaslighting. This is an attack on a black man and that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And he's about to reap everything that he has sown. As the number suggests, by his own birth date, honey, there is transformation happening at age 50. And for him, it's going to be nothing but chaos. And another sign that he's a narcissist. Okay. The mask has slipped. The mask has failed. He's having these temper tantrums, but yet he is still rocking with the lie, which is what a narcissist does. They gonna rock with the lie till the wheels fall off. Another thing that I want to add about his warlock behavior and his inability to keep his penis in his pants. The sex magic that he performs through psychological manipulation and entering the bodies of susceptible women who see him as a savior, who see him as a king, who see him as a worthy man, who see him as someone that they want to be, chosen by. This allure that he has, this charisma that he has by being a third Deacon Leo. The gift of gab, but he does not have the gift of follow through. He wants things the fast way. Sleeping with whoever he needs to get a roof over his head, to get funds, because he is squandering the funds. He has collected well over $1 million with not a thing to show for it. Not even the clothes that he wears or his beard reflect that he has any type of money. It is obvious that this man is narcissistic, running around undiagnosed. Being narcissistic is a personality disorder. It is a mental illness. On top of that, I believe that he has another diagnosis going on. This man needs help. The way that he keeps his home or his environment, you could tell that he is a hoarder. I've studied this man, which also says psychological damage or trauma, inability to let go or disconnect. And he abuses multiple substances. I know. When you've been down that road, you know what it looked like. When you've been around it, you know what it looks like. And I don't know if I have to say allegedly legally, but come on now, on the lives. Begging for money in the middle of the night in the dark, laying on the pavement. Have y'all been checking in? Are y'all up to date on what's going on? Y'all, I feel the need because he's a warlock. And because normally I don't do this, but because I am connecting so much energetically, because I have used watching him as a way to educate myself on narcissism and narcissistic behaviors, I went down a rabbit hole, y'all, and I became obsessive with what I was going through because of my personal experiences, because of my ability to be a people watcher and watch the small, minute things that people miss. This enhances my spiritual abilities. And this makes me more emotionally invested because I am truly disgusted by his behavior. And as far as I am concerned, he has been exiled from the community. And people need to stand up. People need to stop falling for the foolishness. Open your eyes. This is what a narcissist does. Talk, no action. Where's the fruit? As long as you continue, this man is going to keep doing what he is doing. The mentally ill, narcissistic, can't keep his dick in his pants. Warlock. That's been stealing from the community for years. I feel the need to pull a few oracle cards, okay? I'm going to try my best to make a message at the end of this. I want to expose him for what he is, okay? I am using the Hex Hunters Oracle deck. I find out what type of stuff he's doing on the community. How he's been effective. All right. What we got here? Ooh. Umar Johnson is definitely a full-on warlock, okay? If you have seen him on his live, if you have seen him in action, if you know anything about him, claiming to be the prince of Pan-Africanism, turned into what I've heard called the Prince of Pan-Pookiism. I've heard the Prince of Pan-Pizza. He is not the Prince of Pan-Africanism. He is a full-on evil, narcissistic warlock who seeks control and likes to be admired and wants to be a leader, but does not have the qualities to do so. This man has been doing hair spells on women that he has been sleeping with, manipulating, getting money from. He's the type of man that if he come in your house and he go in the bathroom, honey, if there is any type of, if you're on your cycle, digging through, trash cans, your medicine cabinet, getting any type of information or knowledge or any pieces of you or your DNA, this is what he does to leech and deepen, because he's charismatic, y'all, which means he knows how to talk to the brothers. And he knows how to talk to women and get them worked up and make them feel like they special and make them feel like he is seeing them. When he just wants to use and manipulate, this is the type of man that is going to use and manipulate anyone that he comes across. And if any of you keeping up, who is I don't even know this lady's name, but the older woman that said that was caring for his mother, the fact that he's not caring for his mother, you're sleeping with a woman who's caring for your mother, and then you got the nerve to talk about her crusty drawers, but yet you're still in them. Using anybody. It don't matter how old, how young, what sex, an animal. Narcissists do not care. And there are certain types, there are certain levels to it, y'all. I'm just saying. Sweetening work. Using his words, using his charisma, using his education, using spell work and magic, repeating things 3 times, using his divination, using the gift of being a grand orator, which is a quality of a lot of Leos. Leos are very charismatic, fiery, passionate. He knows how to get you excited. He knows how to get you in your emotions. And therefore, you relax and you begin to trust him. This has been some of the biggest tools in his success, in his spell work as a warlock. All right, I'm going to pull from a more positive deck, just to see what the message may be for us. What is the lesson for this as a people, as a collective? What do we need to learn from this fool? All right. All right, family, I find it very interesting, these 2 cards that we have. We have transformation and infinite potential. Transformation means things are changing. Not only for us in our personal lives, but as a society as a whole. This does not mean that we are going to see the changes tomorrow, next year, 10 years, maybe even within 20 years. But it does mean that the actions that we all put together as a collective are going to affect the next generation, are going to affect the next 10 to 20 years. We are in the midst of growing. We are in the midst of uncovering. We are in the midst of justice. We are in the midst of the first shall be last and the last shall be first. We are in the midst of seeing justice, transformation, people being tired, people being awakened. There is this massive shift and awakening going on. We are aware. Infinite potential. See, this transformation, this awakening can take us anywhere. This is individually, and this is as a family. This is as a collective. But first, you have to do the work individually. Inside you, what is your contribution to your family, to your household, to how you treat yourself? Before you can even think about how you affect the world, how are you standing and serving yourself, showing up for yourself, showing up for your loved ones? This is what this ripple effect is about, people. We have to stand together and know that we are all going through this life, experiencing the same struggles, the same pains. We need to come together. We need to transform some things. And I believe spiritually this is happening. This is why a lot of us are starting to see some of the individuals that we put on the pedestal, celebrities, and people that we put our trust in. That's why we are seeing these systems collapse. That's why we are seeing these people get their karma, because it's about time for this system to shift. And it can only do so by each one of us being individually responsible. I truly hope that you learned something and enjoyed my message. I am Coach Latasha. The name of my platform is Claire's Revival. I am your certified self-revival and master spirit coach. You can book coaching online at clairesrevival.com. For any questions or concerns, you can email me, mycoach@clairesrevival.com. Love you, family.